We're now about to go deep with Dan Good.
Anna, how you going?
Good. How are you?
Is that just a straight turn to seriousness?
Yes. Hello. I'm great.
You're great.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you introduce yourself and just let us know one of the many hats that you wear? Actually, not just one.
Multiple.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Anna, and I am an actress, a model, voiceover artist, tree hugger, ocean lover, writer. I don't know. Where do you want me to start?
Wow, author as well.
Yes.
How about we start there?
Okay, let's do that.
Recently you read a poetry book,
I did.
bestseller. Am I
Yes.
right there?
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that and the inspiration behind it?
Yep. So it's called, my debut poetry book, and it is called For the One with Stars in Her Eyes. And the name came to me, the subtitle and like what it was going to be about came to me. I literally woke up one morning, North Bondi, just got to plug that. I woke up one morning and I was like, wow. And it literally was just a download. And I was like, okay. And I was getting my phone out. I literally just woke up and I was writing For the One with Stars in Her Eyes and the subtitle and, you know, what was going to be on the back cover. And then I think from there, things just kind of started flowing. And I wrote poems over a few months. I'd be listening to a song one night and it would just trigger so many memories and it would just flow out of me. And then maybe a few days later or a week later, I would listen to something else. Or I remember that was like maybe 10 p.m. one night and I was listening to a Miley Cyrus song and then it triggered, like it just took me back to maybe a week before when I experienced something with a friend and I wrote a poem about that moment in time. And the book is a dedication to my mum who passed away in 2017. And she was an author, a writer, an artist, a mime artist. She did all the creativity things. And she's written a few children's books and lots of poems. And I just remember finding some, you know, I've read a lot of her writing, you know, even some recently in the last, just before my poetry book came out, like there's a quote at the start and at the end from her writing, just a random little notepad that she wrote. And she wrote poems starting, I think, like when she was 21, and I read it and it just like touched my soul. And I was like, wow, this is incredible that she started writing, you know, in her 20s as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the poetry book is, you know, I wanted it out by December last year. I was like, no, it's going to be out. And then it didn't come out. And then I was like, January. And I was like, didn't come out. And then I was like, okay, we can take our time. There was just lots of things that I was learning about, like, you know, illustrations and what I really wanted for that, and really being like, no, that's not exactly what I want, but this is what I want for, you know, the book. And, you know, I had a lawyer look over like a little contract and I wanted to do everything kind of right in that sense. So it was the most authentic and legit thing coming out because I self-published it. But yeah, it went live on my mum's birthday on the 17th of June, and that's my deadline. I was like, that's the most meaningful date that I could have.
Yeah, that's amazing, yeah.
So I was just really happy that I'm like, as long as it's uploaded to Amazon, I was sitting there, my laptop literally has final. There's about 15, final, like file names.
Final draft.
Like final draft, I swear. And then I would upload it to Amazon and it shows you what it would look like. And like the pages were slightly off. I was like, no, I want it like perfect. And then there was, you know, one little thing that I would move and then it would move something else.
Yeah.
And then I did like a giveaway and everything, which, you know, from past releases of other things, I've learned that, you know, that really gets hype going. And Amazon updates their bestseller every hour. So yeah, and then it jumped to the bestseller in like the first day of releasing. I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. And then Amazon promotes books that are doing well as well. So they help me out a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, so it's been a journey and I forget that I have it sometimes. I'm like, oh, that's right. Don't forget to talk about it. Don't like forget that you did this.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my book. And it's available on Amazon worldwide.
There you go. Quick little plug, guys. Get around it.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. And obviously I looked up your website a little bit before you came here and had a few experts out of a few poems, 2 poems actually on there.
Yeah.
And they were great. They were awesome.
Thank you.
And what was the idea behind those ones that you picked to obviously put there
What did I put there? I
Oh,
don't
God,
know.
now I got to remember. I think I read them yesterday. They seem like they meant something to you anyway.
I wish I had my book here so I could
I know.
read out.
Jeez, come on. Amateur hour. You're supposed to be advertising.
Look, I can tell you like the different chapters and maybe what comes behind that. So the different chapters came to me kind of at the end. There's love, loss, life, being alive, and our bodies, and like a little bonus which has 2 poems. Oh, I know one of the poems. I think it's 52, the last poem. And that was about, was there an illustration of a girl with like roots going into the earth?
I don't think I saw an illustration. I think it was just like the expert of of 2 poems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just talk about that one that's, I guess, coming to mind. So 52, poem 52, and there's an illustration with a woman standing there and like roots going into the earth.
Yeah.
And that, because I do so much visualization and meditation and like connecting to the ground and really earthing myself and grounding myself into, if I'm feeling like I just need to be grounded. And that's where that poem came from. And it was, I suppose, like just reminding the reader that, we are everything that we need. Like we have everything that we need within us, and we can use the earth and connect. Because we come from nature, right? Like we're natural beings. Yeah. So coming from the earth and just bringing that energy up into our bodies to then use to, I guess, thrive in the world and just reconnect to ourselves. And that's how I reconnect to myself and really bring myself into the present.
Go out to nature, yeah.
Yeah. So, and just remembering that we can use that energy.
I think it's important to harness that. Yeah, like obviously there's energy between us as beings and the people that we interact with and things like that, which you feed off each other, as you would know. But yeah, there's something about getting back to nature and about like your roots or in your DNA. You just feel freer. You feel like, as you say, grounded when you go to the beach. You got the sand beneath your toes, or you go start climbing a mountain. You feel that fresh air. It's just like it feels right. Like you're connecting to a higher power, if you will, or higher energy source that you can draw upon. Yeah,
100%. And I think it's so powerful to know that 20 minutes of putting your feet in the grass it's literally recharging us. I saw, I don't know, on Instagram or something, and we plug our laptops in and it's the charger from the power point, that's the laptop's charge.
Yeah.
And because we're natural beings, like putting our feet in earth or the sand or hugging a tree, it's literally recharging us because we've come from that. That's my beliefs anyway. And there's so many like studies and benefits of like grounding and earthing that, even 20 minutes a day just to recharge if we're feeling a little bit off. I'm like, okay, let's just go eat lunch and put our feet in the grass, and I always take my shoes off if I can, just to put my feet like in the earth. And people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, trust me, it works. It works.
No, I definitely, I believe you. I mean, that's why it's funny when you said, should I take my shoes off before I come in? And I was like, I always go bare feet anyway. I don't feel like I'm at home or like free unless I'm in bare feet. Oh, if you have socks on or whatever. But it just feels better like that. I don't know how people walk around with shoes inside. Like I just don't understand other than the fact of dragging mud or anything through your house. But
I'm going to drag mud today. That's my intention. Yeah, I suppose when I go to other people's places, I'm like, maybe it's like a polite thing.
Yeah. But when, people are different, obviously. We're all different. And
but you get home and then you take your shoes off and then you actually feel your feet on the ground. You're like, oh.
Yeah, relax.
Just
you can unwind.
Freeing.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. It's got to be something to do with like the charging of it too, with like the sun obviously affecting, the ground. Like it's all like this energy flow of things. Yeah,
100%. The sun is so, if you're sick, go and lie in the sun for 20 minutes like a day. And
that's amazing, yeah.
Like vitamin D has I don't know the benefits off the top of my head, but it's so beneficial. We have so many resources in like the tips of our fingers for free, like ocean, grass, the sun, food, good food, and the sun is just, you feel so good when you're in the sun, right?
That's why you feel better when you eat the food and the nutrients that actually comes out of the ground rather
100%.
Than the stuff that's made, in a lab or what have you, or with the additives and the preservatives and all those things on them. You feel shit. Your body's like, what the hell are you doing to me?
Yeah. It's like abort mission. Yeah. But no, it's And in the book I do like talk about Mother Nature because it's been such a big part of my life to be, the ocean is just for me, I need the ocean to, fun fact, if you scream underwater, no one can hear you. So if you need a good scream, just go dive in the water. I've tested it. It's fine.
That works.
Yeah.
I guess a pool works as well if you do it that way. Although you might swallow some chlorine or salt water in the ocean too, right?
It's like you open your mouth, but you don't swallow any of it.
But what about when you run out of breath?
Well, then you just go up and you go, wait for a wave to come and you're like,
just come out of water screaming and pulling your hair out. People are like, what's that crazy lady
I'm
doing?
like, hi,
I'm crazy below the surface, not above.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. No one can see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah, and so that's obviously an integral part of the book is with nature and that connection and everything. So in regards to your inspiration from your mum with doing all this, obviously you're on your own creative journey with everything and it's probably where you got a lot of it from, right?
Yes, yeah.
So was it kind of like a thing for you of remembering or not letting go, but remembering these things and like a purpose for you to put that out in that regard? Was it a bit of a healing process or more of a connection that you still feel with your mum all the time doing the creative arts,
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I found that writing in the past has been very healing to move through things that maybe is still lingering. I'm like, that was years ago. I don't want to really be thinking about that anymore.
Yeah.
But with this, it was more so, I think I wanted to dedicate it to her because I knew like before she passed away, she was maybe halfway, 3/4 of a way through like a novel. And like what I wanted to do, what my plan is, to release my own stuff and then kind of work on my own writing and then to release her stuff because she's had some really beautiful things like children's books and everything like that. But yeah, it was more so to connect with that part of her through poetry and writing because it was such a big part of her. And yeah, as I look back, I'm like, wow, no wonder why I'm why I am like I am.
You are the way you are.
Well, yeah,
why I am the way I am.
Because she was so creative. I looked at like a notepad that she'd written, like, if I could do anything, what would it be? The top one was actor. I was like, I did not know that. Mum.
And she never spoke to you about that sort of thing?
Not acting, like she did mime and theatre and stuff and then she stopped and she was always so worried about me acting because if I wasn't going to make enough money. And I was like, Mum, I just want to act and I want to travel. Yeah. And that's all I wanted to do. And then, but yeah, it's more so connecting to her and that part of her and to remember her. Like, this book's going to be out forever. Exactly. I don't know. And it's always going to have like dedication to Mum. And I hope from this then people will be like, okay, Anna's releasing something. What is it? And it'll be, a children's book by Alison Tuck. And then like, I don't know, whatever. Like,
yeah, somebody may connect the dots and find her work online or wherever.
I'll have my name on there maybe. I don't know, and it's just like dedicating, remembering and allowing others to remember her as well. I think that's the biggest thing. Did
you have anyone reach out? Like, are you close to any of her friends or relatives that have sort of?
Not so much in regards to the book yet. A lot of them, there's, I don't know, not everyone knows it's out there.
Yeah, okay.
But I reached out to my long lost godparents, actually. I went, fun story. I went to get like a bone density scan and the lady who came out to do it, she was like, what are your parents' names? I was like, Alison and Peter. And she was like, oh, I'm Dot. I was like, oh, Dot. And like we lost contact with them for ages and she's like an editor and I got her to edit part of the book as well. So she was able to read that and my mum's best friend's read it and she's been really touched by it. So it's really nice to hear that from. And my dad read it. He's like, Anna, I'm really proud of you. Sweetheart, I'm really proud of you. I was like, thanks, Dad. You read all of them. You know everything about me now. Thank you. But yeah, no, it's really nice to hear that.
It's amazing how that connection came about too. After you write the book and you go and do something like that within your health and you meet a long lost godmother.
It's crazy. I was like, Dad, I just met Dot.
It's meant to be.
Yeah. It was crazy. And they were just both so grateful. So Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So you've recently moved back to the coast.
I have.
Good old
I'm
Gold
back.
Coast.
Back to the GC.
So originally you're from Sydney
Yes.
and you've been in Sydney chasing the acting game and everything else there.
Yeah. So born in Sydney and then grew up northern New South Wales. And then I was only on the Gold Coast for maybe three years, three and a half years. And then I was like,
Pull that up just a little bit.
like that?
Yep, that's it.
Yep. Taller mic over here.
I know. I keep trying to adjust my posture. We were laughing about this before the podcast, and it's slightly shorter than me, but she is we've had to extend the mic for her first female guest. And now I'm constantly recorrecting every time I look at you. God damn it.
Yeah, and then I moved to Sydney start of 2018. To follow acting. I was like, I'm just being called down there. This is where it's at the moment. I'm not really feeling it. I need a change, get out of my comfort zone kind of vibe. I loved Sydney. I loved it, a lot of growth, but now I'm back.
So how did you find the differences? You were acting a little bit when you were here, obviously, and this is what I was almost mentioning before the podcast.
Yes.
You actually auditioned for my film Grind at one point.
Did I? That rings a bell.
It was back, I think, 2018.
Oh, my God.
And it was funny because I listened to one of your podcasts today and you were talking to your friend Laura on there about speaking Spanish. She was learning French and there was actually a Spanish soap opera scene in the film, in the script. And I was like, that's a funny correlation right there that I just realized. Yeah.
That just definitely rings a bell.
Yeah, so it was like playing a character opposite me in the film, and that's what I was going to say.
I didn't get it. Sorry.
I was waiting for the podcast for your reaction. No, the thing was you had an amazing audition, and that's what I wanted to say. You were like top 2, top 3 within the group. It was and it was like it was more on the look because we wanted a really Spanish looking, as you know what it's like in this game sometimes. That the chick that we ended up casting in it, she was, although your audition was really outstanding and obviously one of the better ones, she's had that sort of authentic vulnerability look because she was a lot greener of an actress and it's kind of just fit the role and what we were doing, and she could speak fluent Spanish and Portuguese as well because she was Brazilian. And it just kind of suited the role. But I wanted to say that because yours audition, I should pull this up actually.
I want to see it.
I want to see if I've still got it somewhere. But no, I wanted to say because it was an amazing performance and it was one of those things where it was just so hard to pick as it comes down to it in this thing. And there was like 2 or 3 that were just really outstanding and yours is the best performance. It was just slightly on what we were looking for, that character that you missed out, but you were like this. And it's just funny because I don't think I've met you before now, but we've probably been around similar circles at times. Obviously a smaller thing in Queensland, the way it goes. But it was just funny because that was like the only connection that I had to you. I was like, she auditioned for
I was like, okay, where's the connection?
Yeah.
You know, wow. What year was that?
2018, I think I put it out. So it would have been, I would say 2018. We did get it out pretty. It could have been 2017 though, that we shot it. Yeah. Or the start of 2018.
I want to see if you have that audition.
Yeah, I want to see.
I might have it on my laptop.
It's probably online somewhere, I would say, of where we got you to upload it to or send it in. I'm thinking might be on Vimeo or something because I know you've got clips. I actually watched a few of your reels on your website.
I love it. Hire this girl right now. Thank you.
If you want to check that out, annapatch.com. .au, sorry.
But we couldn't get .com at a sad time. But anyway.
Well, .com.au, it works.
Yep, it makes sense.
But and I watched a few of your reels. What did I watched? Your comedic. Actually, I watched like probably 4 of them, I think, or 4 scenes. But you do like to play the sassy, bitchy character a little bit. Or,
do I?
Yeah, a little bit. There's a little bit of sass in a lot of those scenes.
Yeah.
And I think the ones I really liked, there was one, you did a bathroom one where you're wrapped in a towel and you came out. Is that what
Chris.
you did? Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
There was one when you're sitting down on a couch and you were talking to I think a lot of them were with your flatmates and the people you're living with. But
like
that one was a really good scene. I'm trying to think of what it was. I watched so many of them.
Was it the she has like a one night stand? And she
I
tells
watched
them
that
to
one
go
today
away.
as well.
Okay.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah, because you come out in the guy's shirt, but you told him to go away in the middle of the night. That was a good scene. Yeah, I really think
that was
you
a lot
worked
of fun. That one.
Yeah, you could tell. I'm not sure. Was it a white girl behind the camera trying to be a little urban, shall we say?
Oh, I don't think she was trying.
There was the last couple of lines where she just went full urban.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I had to laugh.
It was fun.
It was just,
she went for it, and I was like, "Thank you for doing that," because it got me.
No, it did. That's what I mean. Like it had that effect, and that's funny, right?
Yeah, because she was pushing me because she wasn't getting the result. I was like,
she was
fine, like shut up. I'll do it. Yeah.
And it had that good adverse reaction for you, and you could play off of it. And it's so key to have that with a reader. Like, it's hard
she's a great
sometimes,
reader.
right?
Yeah.
Like you do these auditions, and they're always last minute, and as they generally always are. And you got to get a reader, and sometimes it's like someone that isn't an actor either, and it's different, like because you've got no eye line to work with because they're looking at the bit of paper, not knowing what to do. I mean, I've done it heaps recently, and for some big auditions too, when I couldn't get because of the times. And it was interesting. But yeah, there was some good scenes in there that you had going.
Thanks.
Yeah. So you actually had on there that I don't know if you've filmed it yet, but you were writing your own short film there.
Yeah.
Did you end up getting a chance to shoot that?
No,
because of the times. And we don't even need to mention it because we've gone like this long without even mentioning what we shouldn't mention. So
no, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, neither do I.
No, well, look, I was meant to shoot it. It might come up like a tiny bit, then we can move on.
Yeah.
So I was meant to film my short film, I don't know, maybe March last year.
Yeah.
And then it was very rushed. Big learning curve because the original reason that I was going to do it was to get an agent. That was what my mentor said. She's like, if you want these agents, you're going to have to get an idea for it would be maybe to do a short film. I was like, great, let's do that. And I think the intention starting off was that I don't need a short film to get an agent. I don't need anyone with a name to get me an agent. It's like I can trust my own self with that. So that's the biggest lesson that I learned from that. But I was meant to film it. And then the weekend, Sydney went into lockdown for like 5 months.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I didn't do it because it was way too rushed. I was like, I found really good people to work with, but again, it was like people dropped off. I was learning. It was a big learning curve. But that's my goal for the year is to have at least one short film.
Yep.
I'm really like just focusing this year. But yeah, that's on
one quality short film that you put out yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that you acted as well, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to write it, but also just have someone like edit it and like a co-writer. I want to have the ideas.
Yeah.
Because script writing is still kind of a skill that I'm working on. But I have the ideas. I have so many ideas.
Constantly working on writing, yeah. Or the whole pursuit endeavor in itself, yeah.
Yeah. So that's I'm starting a 3-month not mentorship, mastermind with a girl called Izzy Stevens. She's Australian, but she's based in LA now. And she's amazing. And I worked with her for a month last year with her mastermind, and this time around it's 3 months, and I'm really going to be nutting out it's going to happen. And I'm very excited because I can bring lots of people that I want on and I love being on set, and I'm just really excited for that.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. Yeah. Well, it was interesting you said there, because you said the same thing with the poem about wanting to rush things and put them out and do them. And it's a natural reaction as a creative to want to be just like, I want to do the thing now and let's go, and having that time to let these things marinate, these ideas in your mind and, like they grow obviously as they do from their organic self and in your imagination. You think of little things to add to it as you go. But is that a constant thing you find with your pursuits and what you're doing? That's twice now you've mentioned it, so that's why I bring it up. But I know the feeling myself as well. When you're first in the game, you're just like, let's get the camera, let's fucking go.
100%.
And you just want to, because the feeling of being on set, there's nothing like it when you're putting that out there and you're with your tribe and you're a bunch of people that you really get along with.
Yeah. Look, we want things, we want to control things. That's the biggest thing I learned the last 2 years was letting go of control.
Yeah.
In every aspect of life.
I feel you. Yeah.
And I was like, I want to control everyone and what they're doing. Everyone should be home. That was me. I was so like, and now I'm like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've worked through that. But even with like the short film, And like the book and everything, I have learnt from that everything does happen when it's meant to happen. We have a timeline. Time's not even a thing. Time's man-made. Just going to put that out there. The universe doesn't work on man-made time. So it's like it works on alignment.
It's a construct that we put together, yeah.
Exactly. And, you know, things happen when they're meant to happen, when you're feeling your most authentic self and most aligned with what's happening. And, yeah, letting things marinate and ideas to come. You know, you could be walking down the street and an idea will hit you and you're like, oh, my gosh, that's going to change the whole game, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to, you know, have like a deadline, but don't be upset if it doesn't happen on that day. It might be like a week later or a month later, but then you'll look back and be like, oh, wow, I'm so glad because that person came in that day and they really changed everything for me. So I think it's really just accepting where you are in the journey of it.
Yeah.
Is
and enjoying
really
the journey, obviously. It's so cliche to say, but yeah.
It's so true though.
The control, like, yeah, it's something you have to learn though, I think. And you can
100%,
only learn that in the field, you know, and it's hard to question anything, you know,
Yeah.
in the field, that the way you act. And it's just, with that, I mean, that it's just time. It just comes time,
100%,
right? And you learn that it's a maturity thing. Like, I think the control, like wanting to control everything around you, and sometimes things you just can't, like it's completely out of control. And once you realize that, because honestly, I've had the same thing. Maybe not wanting to control everyone, but like control as in control the things that you're trying to create and what's going on around it. And just, but the beautiful thing is in this industry and creating is that you're bringing all these people together with different talents, you know, to create something together, not just exactly your vision,
So
but
true.
you've got to stay true to your vision and what you think for the project, especially if you're directing or whatever, or you're executive producer or what have you. You have a vision for it. But yeah, like welcoming in those other people and their ideas is what can sometimes make it amazing, a lot better
100%.
because they can add to it, you know, and it's like something that you're not seeing because you're like just straight down the line. You're like, it has to be this
Nothing
way.
else.
And eventually, when you learn that, it's a maturity in the game, I think, and it will help you in all realm of what you're trying to do and understanding of characters too and things like that, because obviously you're playing characters, you're sort of playing yourself, but you're not, like you're using things of yourself. And I found that can hinder like your own performance when you feel that way. Like, believe me, I've had this and time to reflect of things and some I realized, man, like I don't even think I was ready to do that at the time at all. Like, and now I'm glad that I went through all that because now I'm in a better position to actually do what I need to do. Because what would happen if something big had gone down and I got a great opportunity and I was still with that same mindset, it probably would have fallen over.
100%.
I would have fallen over then, you know?
Yeah.
And so you learned it and you take it in your stride and you just keep going.
It like builds up it just builds up the muscle of the trust muscle, the letting go of control muscle. It's, you know, like going to the gym, it's the mindset. If we work on our mindset and, you know, accepting what is, it strengthens that. And next time, you know, you get a no for an audition or someone says, oh, sorry, I can't do that. Or it's like, okay, that's fine. Like not meant to be. That's just where I'm at now. It's just like, yep, cool.
Yeah.
Like I trust that. You obviously, if you're not meant to be here, you're not meant to be here. But yeah, it's definitely, I did like a 3-month course, end of 2020. And their saying is the journey is the destination. The destination is the journey. The journey is the destination. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh.
The journey is the destination.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Because it's always, we have like an end.
We think we have an end goal where we're going to make it at some point, but yeah.
But it's like, you know, we'll achieve that and be like, okay, cool, what's next? What's next? What's next? It's like, that's just the journey. And then that means when I heard that, I was like, okay, that means I'm already here. I've already done it. Yes, amazing, great. You know, and that just shifted everything. I'm like, okay, there's, you know, always going to be things that we can achieve and we can grow into and whatnot. But we don't have to just focus solely on things like way in the future. It's like, okay, cool, if we achieve this today, great. Celebrate that because that's part of the journey and the journey is a destination. Therefore, you've already achieved it and you're already there. If that makes sense. That's how my brain goes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you put parameters on yourself. If you think that it's there and you're like, you're constantly just seeing past that, you miss things. Like cars on the road going by, like you're missing the thing that could help you along the track. Yeah.
And it could be the smallest thing or, you know, one person that changes everything. It literally takes 1 second for something to change, you know, and it's just being open to that every day. Walking out, I'm open to miracles. I'm open to it.
And
then
being
you feel
open is
good.
a huge part of this.
100%.
Because if you're closed off, you can't welcome anything in you. The same with the energy that we were talking about before as well.
Yeah.
And the energy from people, you know. If you close yourself off, then how do you expect to get the things you want, you know?
Exactly.
Like,
If people, you know, we can read energy. I think I was listening to your interview with Andrew Cripps.
Yeah.
I had him on my podcast too.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I couldn't remember where I met him, but we worked on Fright Night together.
Yeah.
And you guys are talking about energy and reading energies, and I think that's so true because you can read energies. You know, even casting directors say it, like we can read your energy when you walk into the room.
Yeah, even if they don't realize what they're reading. And that's the same with people that don't understand. I was going to say common people, that's a bit weird. But like people that just going about their thing. Like, you know, when you get a bad vibe off someone or a good vibe,
100%.
that's an energy read, whether you understand it in that regard or not, or want to admit to that, the woo-woo of the whole thing. But
not woo-woo.
I know,
woo-woo.
but it's just, it's the same with like, and I bring this back to animals as well. It's because, you know, when animals don't like you or don't like somebody, there's generally a reason behind that, and it's probably the intentions that you're giving off. And they bring it back to a simple barrier because they've obviously not got as many brain cells as most humans. As all humans.
Where's the one?
But it's just because that's what they're feeding off. Like they're basically running off that energy that that they're feeling off you. And that's why, like, it's, I don't know, you can be, I consider myself generally pretty playful kind of energy. And every time I'm like running down the river or something and there's dogs, they always want to come running off their lead and come at me and like just like chase me or whatever they're doing, like just to play along. It's just must be the energy I give it. It happens to me every single time.
I love it.
And
That's
it's great.
Yeah.
But I just like, and Aaron's like, it doesn't normally act like this. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I know why. Yeah.
I'm just good energy. Yeah.
It's me.
Yeah.
But it's something, I think, and that's what, like, animals are fantastic for that in that regard. And I think we do have animalistic urges and instincts about us, you know. We develop from that no matter what you want to, you know, think conspiracy theorists. But it's just, it's a cool thing to tap into, I think. And it's like being an actor and being a creative as well, is you want to be in touch with that inner child. You know, they always speak about it in class and things like that. And you find that creative people really do have that, you know, and that's why you get along with them. And it's like your little kids again when you're on set kind of thing. And
it's
you do
so
stupid things. Speaking of Andrew Cripps, he's one of my favorite people to have on set because me and him just have this crazy energy. And when we see each other,
like
it's just like, whoa. And I don't know how it's like for everyone else, but it's just funny, man. We have the most fun on set. Like, and it's always those big, the bigger whole, you know, productions down there. And you're there for like,
you need to have fun.
12 to 16 hours or something. And especially if you're doing extras work or something like that, it's just, it makes the time so much funner and you come up with some awesome stuff. But harnessing that and tapping into it is just so important for like your general mental health and way of life, I think.
100%.
As well as the grounding of yourself.
Yeah, no, when I get into the ocean, I'm like a 5-year-old. I'm like, whee! I'm like jumping into the waves. I'm like smashing this side, diving like a dolphin. I'm like, this is so much fun. And, you know, that's creativity in another world, in another way.
Yeah.
And then again, being more open because you're just in the moment of being
free.
there and being free, being like a little kid. I look at kids making sandcastles. I'm like, can I please join?
Yeah, I feel you.
Like I want to, why am I not doing that?
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. Like, why am I lying on the sand where I could be in the sand?
I don't get how people are able to just lie there and like tan or whatever, or be on their
thing,
phones and take a million selfies. Look, maybe I'll take one. I'm at the beach, but put that up and then there we go. This guy's laughing at me. He's probably seen it before. But yeah, look, you got to let people know, man, what's up. But it's fun. Like I'm always like, I'll bring a ball, and it's funny when I go with people that don't want to kick a ball around or something like that. I'm just like, what are we doing here? Like, you know, I'm going to go in the ocean, and I'm like, I'm a water rat as well. Like you get me in there. I don't need a board. I don't need nothing. I'm just going to go body surf out there for like an hour or two until I'm absolutely exhausted. I need to go in.
I need to be my own parent and be like, okay, Anna, we've got the day to do. We've got things to do. I'm like, no, just like 5 more minutes.
You're swimming past the flags. Love coming.
I'll float and I'll get back out.
Yeah.
Look, I can stay in the water all day if I could. And then friends are like, I'm going in. I'm like, okay, I'll be in there in like 10 seconds. And then like, there's me just going under 10 minutes later. I'm like, sorry. Just got distracted by the beauty of it all.
It's amazing. Well, coast is a good place to be.
Yeah.
That's why I love the sunny coast. Like for me, I like the vibe of the sunny coast a lot more than the Gold Coast. Although I love the Gold Coast, you know, and the people down, like the people, I've a lot of friends down there. Sunny Coast for me has just got that energy about it where it's a little more relaxed and chilled,
it's so
and
much
it's
more
just
chilled.
it's amazing. Like, and I just I feel like I harness and I vibe with it a lot more than what I do down the Gold Coast.
Yeah, well, you got to trust that. Just go with it.
I do. And often I'll just go for a mission. Like, if no one's keen, I'll just go up there by myself, Nice. It's great.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's nice just to have that freedom to be like, okay, cool, I'm going by myself, have a day.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly it. Yeah, just that. But it's vital. Like, I used to do it all the time when I first moved over here, and now it gets so crazy with work and doing all this sort of stuff. It's like you lose sight of the time, and it's just the same thing with this. And it's like you lose sight of yourself sometimes, like, because you can be so constantly going at it and with that mindset. I know I was when I first started out in the game. I was like, holy shit, I've never felt like this before. Just so passionate about something and putting so much energy into it, and the people that you're meeting and everything that you're vibing with. You're like, fuck yeah, let's go.
100%. Yeah.
But there's a point where you burn yourself out. And you spoke about it briefly on the podcast that I listened to, and I was like, oh yeah, I can definitely relate to that. And that's a huge learning curve in itself for you. But yeah, it's just...
Burnout's real.
Yeah.
It's so real. I remember I was thinking about it on the way up, actually, and I was so in my masculine for so many years, like hustle, 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 go, go, go. This is the only way things are going to happen. And then I was working with a coach, like a life spiritual coach, and we worked a lot on balancing it out more into the feminine, which is more flow, ease. And I got way too into the feminine, where I was like at the beach for 3 hours and I was like, I've got all this work to do, but it's so nice. But like hustling and going all the time leads to burnout. I was working 7 days a week, or like doing work. Like on a Saturday I would do a podcast, or I would do an email to like my email list. And I remember the first Saturday where I was like, no, I'm having a weekend. I sat there the whole time with my friends thinking, I need to be home. I need to be home. I need to be home. And my friend was like, yeah, I can get that off you. I was like, I need to be working. I need to be doing stuff. And then so it's like now it's like a balance. I've got the balance. It took me a few years because, we're so conditioned to hustle and go and go and go and go and go. Busy's productive. Busy's like what you want to be striving for. It's like, no, we can still achieve so much when we're, we all have feminine and masculine energies, no matter if we're female, male, it doesn't matter. And it's more so like the energy of like taking action over like flow, or, action masculine, or relaxing, resting feminine, bringing those energies in. And burnout comes from hustling and being busy and not taking a moment to breathe. And I learned that the hard way because I burnt out, and I got this, like Chris would know, because that scene that I had, the prison scene where I come out and I've got the toothbrush. I don't know if you noticed.
That's a prison scene.
Yeah. Well, it could be anything.
Yeah, okay. I didn't see it as a prison scene.
Did you notice my eye?
Yes.
So that wasn't makeup.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
So I don't know what it was, but it was.
I thought it was the foot, and I noticed it.
No, it was
it's funny because I'm pretty observent. Like, and I watched your other videos. I'm like, it's not there. Was I tripping out when I was watching that video?
I was like, okay, this is working because it looks like I've been punched in the face a little bit.
Yeah.
But that came from. That was burnout. Like I look back, like I just know that it won't come back because I just have a feeling that I'm like, that was just that period in my life, and it was painful. And it was like my body screaming, being like, you need to slow down. Because it happened twice. It came when I came back from overseas, traveling, and then it came back again. And I came up here for a friend's birthday actually, and I filmed that scene. And that was my body just screaming, you need to stop. It's like it gets to the point where our bodies physically tell us stop. You need to slow down. And I got to that point. I was like, whoa, something needs to change. I need to just slow the F down because I can't have this on my face all the time,
Yeah.
So that was a big wake up call.
What would you want to explain just for people that are listening?
Oh yeah. So I had like it was like a inflammation on my eye.
Yeah.
And it was very painful. I was putting like I think I was putting heat on it like daily, or ice. I can't remember. I think it was ice, but it was a big like lump on my eye, inflammation, red, sore.
And it made you like twitch or blink a lot, like on that eye. That's what I was noticing personally.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't even remember that.
Yeah, I was like, has she got like a nervous twitch going
no.
something like you were just like
it was
blinking,
my whole
but it was slightly looked swollen.
Yeah, it was very swollen
just
and
ever
red.
so slightly. Yeah, and I was like, is it the camera that it's on, the angle that it was shooting, or what? Like I was trying to. Sorry, Chris, I didn't know you shot it.
I mean, it's really well shot. I love it.
It is.
It's great.
It's great. It's beautiful.
But yeah, it was very, so red, inflamed, swollen, just not a fun time. It was very painful.
Yeah.
And that I put that down to burnout because my body was like, stop, slow down. Like you need to chill.
Just the mind's just overload of and stress. And I mean, obviously you feel it in your temple. You know when you've got tight temples or something like that. And you're like, oh shit, I'm so stressed out.
And I think and then from, having weekends off, I learned that it's okay. We can, when we're in flow and we're chilling out, we're at the beach or with friends, not thinking about anything to do with work or career, that's when you'll get a text and you'll book a job or you'll get an idea. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Like I went to a spa last time I was up with a friend. I was like, yep, cool. I'd love some more fit modeling work. Put it out there. Didn't think about it. My agent texted me. She goes, hey, Anna, you just booked some work. I'm like, oh my God, I was just in the pool or I was like lying in the sun, things because you're, again, coming back to openness of like when you're in that state of relaxation or flow or just being, not doing. It's like being versus doing. And we have to have it's
finding the balance of all that.
Yeah. And just being present or being in your body or, just being with your friends. That's when you're open.
You need that as well. Yeah. It's essential. Like you just can't hustle and grind that whole time. Like it's so vital to have those grounding moments as we spoke about before, or chill time and me time, relax time with friends is important. It's good to laugh and, and have fun. And that's just so good for the soul. You feel it when you've had it. You're like, wow, I haven't done that for a while. Why don't I do more of this?
Yeah, 100%. And I think me time is really important as well. Take yourself to the beach or do a journaling session like on the grass by the ocean or whatever it is, all in the desert, I don't know, wherever you live in the world. To recharge and to reflect. And I think it's, good to come back to yourself as well and not forget who you are and not to forget to celebrate everything you're doing and just to reflect. I think reflection's really important too.
Yeah, to see how far you've come, And it's so hard. And I think like these things that we're speaking about and don't get like for those of you listening that are in the game or watching that are starting out early on as well, think that it's like it's not good to hustle because you need a goddamn hustle and do your thing because that's what it's like and that's what gets you good things in the game. There's just a balance over that and it's something that you learn after like 5 or 6 years of like going so hard that you burn yourself out or whatever and you figure that I need to do things a little differently because this just ain't working and it affects the quality of your performances and stuff and I'll 100% admit to that myself, and I realized when it happened to me in a big way that I just wasn't in the place to be doing justice to the work that I was doing. I still got some good scenes out and stuff. And I'm like, how did I even do, like, now I'm so much more relaxed. I can approach this work in such a different way. I'm just there now. Before I was just go, and I got to get this done. And I got to say the lines. I got to learn the lines. I got to do this. I got to do that.
True.
And it helps you to be in the moment with your life and with your acting or whatever it is you're pursuing really in life and tapping into the best part of you, the best brilliance that is you. And that's just so important to booking a gig or putting the best work out that you possibly can, really.
Yeah, 100%. And I think over the last few years, I don't really use the word hustle anymore. I use the word inspired action.
Okay.
So that comes into like manifestation.
Yeah, I like that, yeah.
So you get an idea and then you take action on it. And then that action, you get that idea for a reason and that action is coming to you for a reason because of what you're wanting to bring into your life. And it's taking that inspired action and it's action, it's the doing, it's the masculine kind of energy, but it's not like, oh my God, I have to hustle, burnout. It's like inspired action. Cool, this feels good. I'm going to email some people today. I'm going to work on a script. I'm going to start looking at podcast stuff. And for me, that's so much lighter. And like, okay, cool, I'm taking inspired action. This is good. This is leading to me to where I want to be instead of like, oh my God, I have to hustle. But, that's
when
me.
You're forcing yourself to do it, then you're not going to put that quality in and it's going to show in the work.
It's like some days you might be really, really productive, like a few days in a row, and then there'll be one day where it's like, I'm not feeling it today or there's something off or whatever it is. And that's just normal. And I think, there's a lot of pressure to be like on, like we were saying before, on constantly. And I think if you have a day or two that you don't technically do any work or hustle, that's okay because that's the feminine, that's the flow, that's the kind of just being,
And guys, by feminine, she doesn't mean you're being a pussy if you're encouraging that either.
No.
Just putting that out there.
You got to flow, you got to relax, go to the beach.
You can still be a man and chill.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes.
Bro time. I call it bro time.
It's your chill time. It's your relaxation time.
Yeah.
It's your coming back to yourself and grounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I 100% agree with
Like
that.
checking the time. Is it 10 hours later?
No, I like to keep an eye.
Yeah,
As you say now that I look down.
Yeah, I was like, what's he looking at?
Oh, no. I gotta keep an eye, you know.
Yeah.
I was actually making sure I'm still frigging recording, you know, half
Don't you
the
hate
time.
that? But that's what I look at it. I look at it as inspired action.
Yeah.
Like the idea comes to you, take action on it, and that's still doing, you know, the hustle mentality, the hustle part of it, I suppose.
So for you, you're talking a lot about, you know, the grounding and things like this and all this. So you do mindset coaching and things like that, or you do a lot yourself for yourself and then you try to give back to other people? Is that sort of the thought process behind it all?
So it's been a journey. I launched a business a couple of years ago of like mindset coaching, mentoring, and then I put it on pause for quite a while because I was doing it because I think I should do it, and I don't like to do things because I think I should do it. It's because I want to do it. And now it's more, I'm still, you know, it's still an offer, it's still there, and I still really love helping people. And I've had some courses in the past on like manifestation and mindset, and I've had a couple of one-on-one clients, which has been really, really cool. But one of my biggest purpose, I guess, in life, or my why is inspiring people to do what they love through me doing what I love or through mentoring. And it's really just like giving back daily on Instagram or Facebook or a podcast or YouTube, whatever it is. And I hope that people see that if I can do these things, that they can do it too. We're not here for doing something that we don't want to be doing in life. And that's a really big belief of mine. And that's what I try to do with everything that I do. But yeah, I've got, you know, I do mentoring. It's definitely open and everyone's just so different. But it's mainly like mindset, kind of reframing the brain and coming to terms with how we can really create our reality. I had a program, it was called Create, about, you know, we are the creators of our life and we get to choose what we do, and that, you know, where we are now today is a result of a past thought or a past action or multiple actions and thoughts, you know. So, yeah, that's kind of that world with that.
Yeah, because I noticed obviously with your podcast too, I had a little look on what you had out there, and you're doing short ones as well, you know, and, you know, like 10-minute ones. So for you, is that like your kind of more personal blog, if you will, that you're putting out there in the radio waves, so to speak, but of like checking in with yourself and checking in with other people and just letting you know how you're feeling, you know, and what you're doing at the moment, and just to bring them more in on a personal level?
Yeah, it's those short ones. There's a couple of reasons why I was doing that. Yeah, but the main reason was like something that I had learnt recently or I had gone through that I just wanted to share with some, you know, with people listening in case it, you know, help them in some way.
Yeah.
That's the biggest reason why I did the podcast. And I do just love to talk about life.
And just talk in general.
Yes, I could go all day. But yeah, and then I kind of got to, so yeah, mainly just like, you know, reflecting on what I was going through in life, like a lesson I had learned that week, for example. Yeah.
So it's more of like an audio journal, so to speak. Yeah,
I like that. Audio journal.
That's what I felt like when I read a few, you know, of your write-ups for what you're doing. I saw you were doing a few shorter ones and a couple longer ones with people that you had on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I felt. And then after reading like through your website and things like that, like I can tell, like you wrote it yourself, right?
Yeah.
And got someone to look over it or whatever. Yeah. Like you could just tell, like it was sort of, you could. I don't know. That's the feeling that I got from it, like the personalized thing, you know, which I think is important, like rather than just having a write-up that someone's put and written about yourself, you know. And
well, I want people to like relate to it. And even with like my writing, with my book, I want to, the way I write is like I connect to the reader and I want them to feel that I'm there with them through whatever they're going through, and that they're not alone, or, you know,
and it's the journey with them.
Yeah. So I think I realize that's kind of, you know, how I come across, and I want people to be like, yeah, cool, she sounds cool. Or like I align with her, and yeah, go from there, I guess.
Yeah. So for you, is that something you want to keep doing a lot more of? Like obviously it's a hard thing as a creative when you're wearing so many hats, as I was speaking about it at the start. And putting that genuine time and energy into things and getting them to a high degree that you're happy with putting out there in the world. Because I know, and I'm sure you know, and Chris knows that when you're creating things, you just want to get them out there sometimes, especially when you start off in the game. You're like, God, we just got to put this up. I want people to watch it.
Yes.
And then you're like, I take the time and lead these things and figure out what's exactly right and put the right amount of energy into this, and the good creation of it comes, when you take your time with these
100%,
things.
Yeah. And that comes from years of, learning, growing, challenges, rejections. Like that doesn't, anyone listening, like it's taken me a good 4 years minimum to get to where I am now with mindset and everything. It's just like a constant thing, you can retrain your brain. And
you're all on your own journey. That's what I mean. Don't feel discouraged about what we're talking about, because you'll find your way with it,
exactly.
whether you want to or not, it's going to happen.
You're on your right path. Even if you think you're like off the path, that's still your path.
Yeah.
You might just have a little pivot.
Yeah, you may get frustrated with the path that you're on, but it's just yours, and you just own it. Yeah.
What was the question?
I can't remember. I like talking too.
I was like, whoa, Anna, stop. I went off the path there a little bit.
No. That was...
I know what you was. Yeah. If I was continuing to do this.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, because, like the energy you want to, like you've set out like a firm like goal, if you will, of like you want to create a short film this year, and put genuine time and energy into it and make it good, and not just put it out for the sake of putting it out. Mm-hmm. And like you've probably got some other goals and stuff like that. And then that's the thing, it's hard, like, because you get auditions thrown at you last minute all the time. That's just how it goes in this game.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
And sometimes you really are not ready to be doing that audition, or you can't be asked because you've got so many things on your plate.
But I'm so grateful. Thank you.
It's like the last few weeks, a couple of months, like I've been trying to sort the sale out for this house, and I'm doing it all myself, with lawyers coming at me and bank and this and that, and trying to work all these things out. Still trying to work, still working full time, still running the podcast, still doing the acting thing. And I'm getting legit the biggest auditions of my life in the last few weeks. Yeah. Straight up. And I'm just like, oh shit. Oh, well, here we go. But it sees what you're made of, and things happen for a reason, and it was just like, maybe you've been a little slacker at times, or you're not, or you're welcoming in at that point. You're like, I'm ready for something, and something next minute you've got a message from your agent. Hey, Dan, I've got a, you got this audition.
You love that though? It's like, yes, thank you.
It's great. And then sometimes you're like, fuck, like right now,
I'm gonna
like really?
fit that
and I'm
in
like,
tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Sorry guys, I'm out for this, I'm out for that.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm learning lines for the next couple of days, and then got to put this and that down. Like, it's just people, it's hard to understand, but yeah.
I think most people are understanding, but it's just like, that was a big thing. The years are just, I keep calling last year 2020. The start of 2021.
I can't remember what year it is anymore.
Like the start of last year, because I've got I've got YouTube, podcast, acting, modeling, fit modeling, book, but like there's so many things, mentoring. I'm like, whoa. And I was trying to do them all at once.
Yeah.
Like that's where I burnt out, because I was like, YouTube, okay, email, mentoring, coaching, Facebook page. Like I was like, And then I decided, start of 2020, to focus on two things. And that was hard for me, because I'm like, I really love YouTube, and I really wanted like rebranding my podcast. Like that's just, I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, hey, it's soon. It's in the soon pile. But I really just chose two things. I'm like, Anna, you're writing a book. It's pretty big. And then you can do your short film. That was all I focused on. And that really took the pressure off, and I felt so much calmer with that. Even on the back of my mind, I was like, I really want to like do my YouTube, and I was like, no. But with mentoring, it's still there. And I'm just like, if anyone reaches out to me, I'm 100% open to it. But I'm now just working on more, I guess, things that people can choose to do when they feel the call to, and I don't necessarily need to be there live. Like, self-study courses, which I have, like a affirmation self-study course, and I want to bring out affirmation cards, those type of things where it can just be there. I'm still putting out, I'm still inspiring people, but I can still focus on my other things. But obviously they're still big projects, and I've got to put the time in for that. Yeah. But that's kind of where I'm heading with that, of like having probably like affirmation cards, or like journals, or just courses, or little one call things that people can do. But at this stage, I've had a few people reach out to me. I'm like, yeah, definitely still open to it. So just kind of trusting with that. If the universe brings me someone, and I'm like so happy. I just love helping people. And if it's one mindset shift that they get that changes their whole world, the mind blown moments you get sometimes.
And it puts the good vibes and energy out for you. You feel good about yourself, and then you in turn put that into something 100%. Else, and it's just that re-evolving circle of life.
And then they might take that one like energy shift or that mindset shift to someone else, or like they'll go out into the world and then they'll start attracting things into their life. Like my program that I did in like 2019, I think it was. What a journey. Just what I heard from people in that, they're like, Anna, like, oh my gosh, this director reached out to me, da da da. I was like, oh, this is why I do it, because you're realizing the potential that you have and like what you can create for yourself. So that's kind of where I'm heading.
So what is it for you then this year? The short film obviously being one, and with your acting, obviously, for your couple of things that you're sort of trying to stay aligned with. Yeah.
So this year I want to bring all the things back. So YouTube's coming back, but we've learned, when with my podcast, I was just week. It's like, cool, we can have seasons. We can do a podcast season. We can do a YouTube season of like 8 episodes or 10, and then have a break. Take the time, film it, edit it, and then have them uploaded, ready to go. So I'm bringing back my podcast. Stay tuned. And YouTube's still like just taking my time with it and being like, cool, I'll film this, but I'll edit it maybe in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Not having a deadline on it.
A patch of life.
A patch of happiness.
A patch of happiness. Jesus, how did I get
that?
Patch
of life is nice, but patch of happiness.
I don't know why I blanked on that one. Yeah.
Close enough. But yeah, so this year's like my short film / web series. I've just got so many ideas running in my head. I'm like, Anna, just choose one and start there.
Oh, it's
like constant. I'm like, oh my God, that's a really good idea.
But the important thing is too, when you get that inspiration, is to get it down.
Oh, 100%.
And that's where like voice notes and things like that
reminds me. I recorded something the other night. I'm like, I have to write that down.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I've only
because you go back to it at some point, but you need to know what that organic substance was, why you thought of it, because otherwise you're just staring at words on a page.
100%.
Sure, you can get a kind of a bit of a vibe from where you are at, but if you write it the way you were thinking it often jogs it back in your mind again.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely lots of notes like that. But yeah, this year's really I have my 3 words. This first time I've done it, but I really set clear intentions this year for every aspect of life. And I just finished a course, and he got us to do like our word for the year, or words. And my words are openness, focus, and thrive. Because I'm like, Anna, if you want to change, if you want to do more work, I've been really like, no, this year the money that I'm earning is through all my creative pursuits, and that's it. And like, I'm being really like on that. And I'm like, okay, universe, like, let's go.
It's a tough thing to do. Yeah.
It's hard because I'm like, I know that I could go back to hospitality easy, but I'm like, no, I'm past that. For me personally, everyone's on their own journey, And I just got to the stage where I was like, okay, there's more out there for me, and I know that I can do it. And it's paying off, because I have made that physical and energetic space for that. So focus and thrive and being open. That's my kind of 2022 vibe. But yeah, look, I want to get a book publisher this year, and I want to get a book deal, potentially release another book, poetry book, get an agent for acting.
Which is vital.
Yes, yeah. We're at the stage where I'm like, okay, yeah, we're ready, we can do it. That's a whole nother conversation though. And just have my team, like a modeling agent, a voiceover artist agency, acting agent, book publisher, all my things, kind of like having that team to support me on that journey.
Yeah. Well, that's important.
Yeah.
Because like we've just spoken about, you got to go out there and find your own roles and things like that as well, or work hard to welcome them and attract them in.
Yes.
But in the professional realm of things where you're obviously at, you need the agent there to be submitting you for
100%.
everything. I mean, voiceover and acting agent
I
sort
can
of
probably
can be one and the same.
That's
to the majority of it, and even sometimes modeling. But although that's the tricky thing with with modeling, a lot of them don't want you to be on acting agencies, because what you'll find they've done with the increase of work here is that they are doing they're putting people in it for a lot of extra gigs and things like that as well, and they don't want you represented by another agency because they want to put you forward for that little cash cow at the same time as your modelling thing. I'm sure the top modelling ones don't roll like that, but I know the majority of them are doing that because I was talking to a lot of different people, new faces, you know, that you see, because you see a lot of the same. I'm finding, I'm like, geez, I'm older, I'm standing around the same thing. I'm getting old anyway, but whatever. Because there's so many young people when I've gone down and done little things on like got asked to go and do it. I'm like, yeah, cool, I'll go do it. That one sounds cool. And that's where I see Crips a lot of times as well.
Cool.
And it's because we've been asked back because we've done certain, you know, they want us for these things. But there's a lot of young people like doing the extra stuff, and I'm like, well, this is a whole new breed of actors.
Right?
Like, and I'm like, I don't know any of these people, but I make an effort to get to know them and stuff like that. And it's just interesting because a lot of the girls were like modeling agency stuff, and they're not even with an acting agent or even care about acting, to be quite honest. Well, they might in the moment like, I want to be up there.
It's interesting to notice that. But it's so quick little story. For 2020, it was 2020.
Sure.
I had, I'm sure. I put a video on Instagram. I was like, thanks 2020. And my friend was like, Anna, did you realize it was 2021? I was like, no, I changed the caption. She goes, no, you wrote it in like the video. I was like, oh no. Caption, I meant 2021.
That makes it hilarious though. And
so funny.
Probably just so yourself, right? So you keep that up there.
No, I did. 2020, I had 2 acting agents. And I don't mind speaking about it because I learnt so much about it and myself. So I wasn't with them for very long, but they both let me go. Not because of me. They're both like, you know, my last agent was like, I'm going to regret this. I'm like, yep, you will. But, you know, there was personal reasons and everything, which I respected. And I realized after she let me go, I went through this it was a massive mind-blown moment where I was like, I have been defining myself solely as an actor for so many years. I'm like, I'm an actor. And I realized once that happened, I was like, oh my goodness. And it like opened so much. I literally wrote back, you know, my reply. And then I said, thank you so much. You've allowed me to realize something that's about to change my life forever. Thank you. And that's what I sent to her. And since then I was like, wow, I was putting so much pressure on myself. And but then I also reflected, I'm like, when I went into that agency, and, you know, I was like, it's meant to be. We've come back to each other after like years, And I was so desperate to get an agent, so desperate. I was like, I need to get an agent. I was I look back, I'm like, whoa, there was a lot of desperate energy coming out of me. No wonder like it happened. Like, I'm not surprised. Like, I didn't get an audition. I was like, what's going on? Like, I know that I can do it. And she believed in me. But energies, like it comes into reading energies, but it's also the intention you put into something as well that I've learned. I'm like, wow. And then, so I learned from that, and I didn't apply to agents because it was COVID. And I've just come to like, it's just such a nice space to be in, just so grounded in myself and trusting myself, my skills, my abilities, my energy, who I am, all the things, which has again taken time, you know, lots of inner work, deep inner work to get to this stage. And now I'm going into like the agent thing. I'm like, cool, I know I'm great. Like, you know, here you go. And it's like, it's the energy and the intention of like, I don't need you. I don't need an agent because I know I can be like, I've been my own agent for like years. I'm like emailing people, you know, there's always a way. Screen Australia, FYI, have all their projects on there. So you can just email them directly. But it's really nice to come to a stage where I don't need anyone because, you know, everything that we need is within us, no matter what it is or what you're doing in life. We have the answers we're seeking. No one else can really give it to us. We think they might, but we have the answers we need, and we have everything we need already, you know. And that's where I'm at with the agent thing. I'm like, you know, I trust my skills and I trust myself, and someone would be lucky to have me, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at, which feels really nice because it was, comparing it to where I was 2 years ago, so desperate. I was like, whoa, that's a lot. You know, no wonder it turned out how it did. But taking the time to just go within and really ask why as well. Yeah, I don't really know where that came from, but that's my story about trusting yourself and that you have all the answers you need.
But it's so true. And you said before about casting directors can smell that desperation on you and everything.
100%.
Yeah, and they've been in the game a long time, so they know what they're looking at sometimes, and they can look past certain things because they're like, okay, they're a little green or they're nervous or whatever. But when you get into the upper, realm of things, it's just, you got to be on your game, right?
Yeah,
and you got to be
like,
professional about what you're doing. And also you said about the agent thing. I mean, it's like you're inviting someone to come on the journey with you,
100%.
not just like, I need you to get me this.
And that's where exactly, I was like, I'm going to
book. But everyone's like that when they start out.
I know, but this was like deep, like I've been doing this for like, this is like year 7 now.
Yeah.
And this was 2 years ago. But still, that's a long time ago. So I'd been doing it for a while. It wasn't like my first kind of emailing agents.
Yeah.
But like I went into it, I was like, yep, I'm going to get a role straight away. I'm going to get an audition straight away. Yep. This is going to like make me. So like the energy and the intention was just like way off. I was like, bless you.
Like we said before, it's the maturity moment. It's like when they say when you do anything well, you got to be at least 10 years in the game, to really, when things start really happening for you, because you're ready for them to happen for you then.
You're
capitalizing on those opportunities in that moment because you have the tools and the ability about you, and you've got them all working together, not fighting each other trying to push the tools to work. Tools are supposed to work for you, not you work the tools, like it's just everything aligns for you at one time. And as I say, it's the same thing, like 4 or 5 years in the game, you have that thing happen and then you come back rebuilt and stronger, and you're more mindful of that, or to take time to do this, and you're just better for it. And I think it's the same with everyone. I honestly do. I think everybody goes through the same things, whether you're doing comedy, acting, musician, or anything you do in life really that you're going down, is just, it happens that way. I mean, sure, there's some naturally gifted people that get, what is it, luck meets opportunity or whatever, and some people get a lucky role sometimes, but I've seen it in so much. Like I've done a lot of sports and stuff when I was younger and going through it, and there's always those natural gifted athletes.
Yeah.
But their work ethic is pretty terrible. They get by on that natural ability for so long that they get lazy, and then they end up just giving up anyway because they just don't have that fight in them anymore.
Yeah.
When you get to that point, it's like, it's not all just natural ability, you gotta be ready to work for it.
100%. There's so much hard work that goes into, especially, anything, but especially this industry. Like so many people don't see it. It's like, it's like that iceberg analogy. That always like the iceberg under the water, 100%. Like all the time, effort, and everything that goes into it. And then that little peak above the water is like, you're just breaking the surface. Oh my God, overnight success. No,
well, that's that 5 years, under there of that iceberg growing, to actually protrude through the surface and become something, like.
There's this, a past coach, she told us in a call or whatever, the Chinese bamboo plant. Have you heard of it?
No, so maybe, but enlighten me.
So it's the bamboo plant, Chinese bamboo plant, and it grows, nothing's there for 5 years. Nothing. Like you're watering it every day, whatever, every week, nothing. And you just let it do its thing. On the 6th year, it literally just blooms and like sprouts and just grows and grows and grows. And like she was talking about, that's why you keep going, because you're planting seeds all the time with people, things, opportunities, and then taking the inspired action or, doing things for it. That's watering it. It'll grow. The Chinese bamboo plant on the 6th year is just like blooming, like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And, we can relay that to ourselves. And I think that was really, I was like, oh my God, I'm on to year 6 now. Okay, great. I had that moment like, hey, what's going to happen this year? Chinese bamboo plant. But yeah, it's just like an analogy, I guess, to just keep watering the seeds, keep doing what you love, keep putting action into it and just trusting the process, because you will bloom like the Chinese bamboo plant.
Love it.
It's really nice. I love it. It's really nice. So just,
I want a Chinese bamboo plant.
Planting
sounds like my bonsai.
Yeah.
Just like, come on, grow the bush, God damn it. Like,
I need
forever.
Something. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's just like a matter of just trusting that, you have that urge to do whatever you feel called to do. It's there for a reason. We haven't been put on the planet to not do that. Like we're being specifically chosen to be here. Like we chose to be here. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
Our souls chose to be here right now. So we are able to do everything that comes to us because it allows us to grow and experience life.
It's listening to that as well, because you know when you're doing something that doesn't really serve the full purpose of what you're doing for whatever reason, emotionally state that you're at. You know when it's not really enriching the soul and your purpose for what you feel to be at the moment or what feels right.
100%.
Like the gut feeling is just, you just can't go against it. You gotta go with it. Because that's where the best things happen, when you flow with it.
100%. And you know, that's our inner guidance system is, you know, that gut feeling that we have. It's like, oh, I really like, I just, you know, it can be in like, you know, if you want to leave the party with your friends or stay, it's like, oh no, actually I feel like I really want to stay because something's pulling me. And then you'll bump into someone and have the best conversation you've had all week, you know? It's like, oh, I'm so glad I stayed. But it's like, oh, what would have happened? You know, it could be anything.
Yeah.
But
it's funny. I wonder what that urge is inside you to make you want to go into your shell or what have you, or go to your comfort zone or comfort space. And it's about getting outside of your comfort zone. Obviously, you learn a lot more about yourself when you do that.
It's a muscle as well, you know. It's like, oh, comfort zone. You're going to break out of that.
I wonder what that, you know, because it's like the thing that's fighting the soul or your...
It's the ego and like the fear of like, so the ego kind of works off, what if this doesn't work? What if it goes wrong? What if all the negative what ifs?
Yeah.
And it's like switching that to, what if this is the best thing that I've ever done? What if this works out?
Just switching the opposite mindset.
And it's so simple. I'm like, oh, when I heard that, I was like, that is life-changing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what if they don't like me? No. It's like, but what if they love you? And what if you have so much fun? What if you feel like fulfilled and like with so much joy? And tuning into that, I felt that when I moved out of home officially in Sydney from living with my family to then moving to my first housemate situation, I was like, yep, I'm going to do it. And then I said yes, and I was freaking out. I was like, what if it doesn't work out? What if I can't afford it? Best thing I ever did. I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I did this. But yeah, coming back to doing what we love, I always ask people, I'm like, so what do you do? They're like, I'm like, do you enjoy it? And they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, okay, I know you want to do something else, but you know, I'm just going to plant the seed. And other people are like, yeah, I love it. I'm like, yes, we love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's, I'm a big believer in that. I believe that everyone knows what they want to do, but they're just scared. The people that don't, they say, oh, I don't know. It's like they're just scared to admit it to themselves.
It's hard to take that plunge sometimes.
It is.
It's the thing of being comfortable, you know, and yeah, it's one of those natural instincts of a human to be comfortable, you know, like, you know, when things are off and you're like, oh, I got to go home to my safe space or whatever. But you find so much about yourself when you step outside of your comfort zone, you know, it's cliche to say, but it is what it is. Yeah. It's like I started out small town in New Zealand and I was like, I know I can do more with what I'm doing and I don't know if I can do it here. Yeah. And, you know, going away from family, like I moved over here by myself, they were all still there, you know, and it's like, it's hard because you miss them and you want to be there for things, but it's like, the growth that's come from doing that is just astronomical. Like I wasn't in the acting game there. I wanted to do it. I you know, it was like a deep burning desire. And when I look back at things that I'd done, my sister's like, oh, do you remember when you used to do those home videos at home? Yeah. And I'm like, how do you even remember that? She's like, I've got the footage. I got it turned in from VHS to, and I'm like, okay, don't show that to anyone. Like, yeah, it's just hilarious. I didn't even know. And it's just like those funny things. It's like, okay, there was that deep down thing, desire inside you. Yeah. You were just scared to let it out around people, you know? Yeah. And I think it's still there to some extent, you know, like, and that's the whole like pursuit is trying to free that inner child, that inner feeling within you, and to be in a safe space to want to do it, you know, around 100%. People and show people about it. But it's like, I didn't even think it was possible to really do that, but I knew that it was, and I had people, like close people going, man, you're never going to do that. You're never going to do this. But I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why not?
Exactly. Like, why not me?
Why can't I do it?
I heard that
somebody's done it. People are doing it.
So much proof.
Yeah.
The brain needs proof. So you're like, okay, what proof do I have right now? If Sarah can do this, that's just proof to show that I can do that. If she's doing it, I can do it.
And you could do it better or different.
And that's Sarah and I'm Anna or whatever it is, you know. That's great. I'm glad you took the jump. It's like you jump and it's like there's always a safety net waiting.
Well, yeah, it was just like there was no ceiling to that after a while. It was just like, well, what can I do now? You know?
Literally it's like, okay, what else is there?
Yeah, and that's when I found acting. Like I fell into it, you know, like I didn't, it's just one of those things. I was probably lucky if I was here 6 months and wouldn't have even thought it was going to like not even really chase it, just getting set up, you know, and getting that confidence within yourself, start working out in the gym, feeling a bit better about yourself, you know, you're like, okay, I got this, I can do this, you know, and it's just one thing from another. And that's when I was riding on that energy and that vibe for so long until I burnt myself out, until things happened and they went sideways with certain situations and stuff like that I was forced to recalculate and figure those steps out of where I'd come and like think of how over the years, how far I had come from all that. Astronomical from where I was at.
Yeah.
But you don't think about that at the time. You're just so caught up in it because you go.
100%.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible what jumping into the unknown does. It's like, for me now, it's like, again, the muscle thing. It just, the more you do it, the more it's like, okay, I know that this is scary, but I feel really good about it. Jump. Yee! And then you're like, yay, glad I did that. Or that kind of went pear-shaped, but I learned something from it.
You always learn. You can find something within it. That
you always grow and you always learn. And it's, you know,
life.
Everything happens as it's meant to happen and it happens for you, not to you. That's a big thing too that I've learned. It's like everything's happening for me, not to me. You know, that maybe, quote, bad thing happened, but it happened for me because I learned this, or I grew from this, or I realized my worth, or I realized who really loved me, or whatever it is, you know. So that's really a nice thing it's happening for me, and that kind of just helps.
Yeah, it's a good mindset thing, affirmation or whatever to say to yourself. Yeah, it's very important. Yeah, because you can get hung up on the negative, like you said before. Like it's easier to get hung up on the negative, and when you welcome that in, it's only going to push you down further and stifle that positivity within you.
Yeah, like the spiral.
Yeah.
Like, and then you just I'm like, oh my God, okay, I can tell I'm in a spiral.
It's easy to go downhill and go up it, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's like the mountain thing. It's like, you know, we try to look right to the top. It's like, just take the next step. And then the next step's like pretty cool. And you're like, and then you get to the top of the mountain, you're like, I just did the whole mountain.
Legit got a full spiel analogy on the last podcast I did with Chris here, exactly talking about that mountain and the levels.
I love that.
I got
meant to be.
Yeah, it's funny you say it exactly like that.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, it was good.
Obviously it's meant a message that's meant to be out there. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think, and that's what I love about doing these podcasts too, because I get to interact with people like you that are of this similar mindset of these things, and we're going for things, you know, and it's about putting that energy out there, you know, and like, and that's why we do this. So we hope someone else picks it up, listens to it, hears it.
Raise the consciousness and the just raising the vibe of the planet, you know, by one conversation.
When you do that, it creates a larger vacuum, you know, and 100%. You suck other people into the vortex, you know, and then it's why wouldn't you want to do that than create a negative situation? Because it's worse when, you know, like for everyone, if you're negative. Yeah. It's an absolute no-brainer. I know it's easier to be there. It's so much easier to be negative about it, but there's always a positive in the situation no matter what way you look at it. Yeah. Like you say, a breakup or whatever, you know, anything along those lines, it's like, it fucking sucked at that point.
But look where I am now.
It still kind of sucks, but look what I learned from it that I'm going to take on to the next thing.
I think it's really important to, you know, if we are feeling off or negative or not so great, to be okay with feeling like that. I used to try and push all those feelings away because I'm like, I know how good it feels.
Does.
It feels so good to feel good. I don't like this. No. And it would last way longer than it needed to.
It prolongs the circle of the whole thing.
And it's like, but then I learned again over years of trialing and erroring, unsubconsciously just, you know, all the things, trying to push away a not so good feeling. It would last a week or 2 weeks, but now it's like I've come to acceptance is like the biggest game changer. If I'm feeling off, I'm like, okay, try to like resist it, but I'm like, what you resist persists. And it's like, okay, I accept where I am right now. I'm not feeling myself, or I'm feeling a bit off, or just not good. And then I found that accepting that, it kind of nearly instantly shifts. It's like, okay, you know, maybe it might be a couple of hours, but it won't be weeks like it used to be, because I'm like, oh, I don't like this feeling. I know how good it feels to feel good, and I would really get myself into like, oh. But then I was like, okay, I was in hotel quarantine. I had a day where I went through some mental stuff during there, wasn't it? That's a whole nother fucking podcast. But there was a day where I woke up and I felt nothing. Like I felt nothing. I was like, whoa, this is really weird. Like it was just nothing there. I was numb. I was like, whoa, like this is really weird. And originally I was like, oh, I don't like this. Like, no. And then I was laying there. I was like, I just accept it. This feels really weird right now. I don't like it, but I accept it. And I went and had like a nice relaxing bath and a shower and I ate something. And then maybe I did a workout and then I realized, and then it kind of lifted because I realized I'm like, oh, like I was doing a lot of like inner work and reflection and like journaling and like fears and like all this stuff was coming up during that time. And I realized that, it was for me like an up level. Like I was up leveling in my life because I was releasing. So I was purging so much and I was releasing and realizing a lot of things. But literally it lifted within the day. And I was like, acceptance. I just accepted it and I didn't push it away. And yeah, look, again, that took me years to get to that stage. But acceptance is the first step, I think, for that. And to feel the feelings. If you want to cry, just cry. Please just cry.
Just let it out.
Just let it out because it's like once you do that, you got to process it because it's just stuck in the body, and feeling it. Feel it, but also feel it because then you can then come back to your natural state of, alignment and being more grounded and happy.
What did you think it was that made you feel that way? Like the being isolated from people, from
lots of things.
Yeah, okay. We don't need to go into it.
I just I just did a lot of like inner work. I was doing forgiveness letters to like people, I wrote about 10, 15 forgiveness letters. Then I was writing those and that would trigger like fears, like a fear of abandonment came up. I was like, whoa, that took me back to childhood memory. And I went through and healed that. Inner child healing, meditation, I was doing breath work. I was releasing a lot. I was very angry when I was in there and I was feeling that. People next door were probably thinking, who is this crazy chick? Because I was doing breath work and I was screaming into a pillow. I was like, felt so good.
That's part of breath work. I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah, it's like, I love breath work. Yeah. It's like do you do that one? Like,
okay, no, maybe I'm not. Yeah.
And you get like your blood pumping and you like it's normal to feel like, your hands tingling and like coughing.
I've
and
heard
like,
about this recently.
It's life-changing.
No, I just mean breath work as in the meditation of just normal breathing, but not that. No, because I did hear about this the other day on a podcast I listened to with Theo Von and there's a chick comedian that's on there. Yeah. But she found breath work in within obviously the pandemic and stuff.
Yeah.
And she was going on about that of going like fully to this elevated point. I've heard about, with meditation and stuff. And I've felt different things with meditation and doing longer form like that when I'm in a good place and like out of body experiences almost. Yeah. Of like, you feel like you're hovering above the ground, but really you're just, more grounded than what you were before. Yeah. And the energy from it. But yeah, she was saying about the whole body going numb and just all this crazy stuff. I was like, I haven't really heard of this kind of breath work. Yeah. Like Wim Hof and stuff like that. I've heard of those ones, but that was still, okay. So you do quite a bit of that.
Every time I do it, I'm like, why did I not do this?
Yeah, but that's the same with meditation, isn't it? Right? Like I was literally thinking of this before. I was like, probably should meditate before I do this podcast. Yeah. I haven't meditated in weeks and I've had a lot going on. I know I need to do it. It's always
when you have a lot going on that's like, but it's like when you have time.
And that's the most time you need to do it though. That's the problem. Yeah. Especially the last few weeks. Like,
or maybe it's a sign for you to be like, no, 5 minutes.
I know I'm going to do it now because I've spoken to you about it and I've said it on here. So I have to hold myself accountable to that.
Yes,
and that's important, I think, to hold yourself accountable to those things that you have to do.
Yeah.
Or that are not have to do. Because when you say that's a hard thing.
You get to do.
Like, I have to go to the gym. I have to do this. I had to change a lot of that years ago when I was like, it was starting to be beginning to be a drag to go to the gym and stuff like that. So I have to go and train before I go and do this audition or I go and do that. And it's just like, no, you go into the gym, you're going to feel better about it in the end. I know you don't want to go to it now. Yeah. Like everybody pretty much that doesn't really want to go to the gym often. Yeah. After 5-10 minutes or half an hour or whatever, you get it out and you're like, I'm glad I went and did that. I feel a lot better. 100%. Like, look at what I just achieved.
Endorphins, Yeah. Yeah. It's, it's just like you get to do that. I get to go to the gym because I can feel better. I get to do this audition. It's like, I have to do this audition. I'm like, I get to because this is what I love. You're never going
to do a good audition if you have to do it like that.
I get to do this. I get to do that. It's, another mindset shift that changes so much.
So what's with or whatever this breath work that you're doing.
Anyway, so it releases a lot.
Yeah.
And like I set an intention before it, but like I just want to release anything that I don't need anymore, or I did like a little 5, even if it's for 5 minutes. I did a longer one, and that was around quite a lot of stuff. But then I did the next day 5 minutes. I'm like, I was stressing about money, and I was like, I'm going to release any money blocks or fears that I have. That's my intention. And I was doing it. And then again, you know, sometimes you want to like shake it out or dance it out, or so there's coughing or there's tingling, or you just want to scream or yell, and it feels so good. And I remember this day towards the end of quarantine, I had applied for a Star Now job, and I came out of it, released some money fears, and I got a call. She's like, hey, Anna, just want to confirm your availability for Sunday. But I was like, what is the job? And she's like, oh, you applied on Star Now. I'm like, oh, and I booked the job. That was from 5 minutes of doing breath work, releasing money fears, and I got like a $400 job.
Yeah, wow.
I was like, oh my God, it works. It works.
There's little gems on Star Now, right?
Yeah, there's
like
so
that,
and you meet so many good people. But
especially if you don't have an agent, though, it's a little conflicting with some of that stuff. I will say, but it's good when you can land something because it's just like a quick cash.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's fun to do. It's obviously, it's not just saying you're doing it for the money, but it's just like, it's great to be paid for what you love to do.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going down that road now, with everything.
But it was so... like, I just get reminded constantly. It's like I literally made energetic space for like money to flow in, and then boom, it happened. You know, and I did a lot of releasing, and I listened to, I forget what the book's called, but he talks about up-leveling and how we up-level in our lives, and, you know, every aspect is just like growing and stepping into the next level of our life. And he says when you know that your ego or your brain's trying to stop you from that, or like trying to keep you where you are, is worrying. Like, you're worrying about something. It's like, actually, hang on, why am I actually worrying about this? It's like, oh, there's no reason. I'm like, oh. And then like for me, because I'm aware of that thing, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm up leveling. And I think I had that day of numbness because I was integrating I was releasing, and like I was going inwards, and I was meditating. I chose to call Beyond Blue one day because I had like these thoughts. I was like, whoa, this is like, I don't like this. Like, I was very, like, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I was like, no, you need to call someone. So I went through a lot of stuff, and, you know, 10-minute chat with this guy. It was so simple, but it was so nice. I was like, thank you so much. She's like, that's why we're here. I'm like, oh, this is so great.
Beyond Blue, is there like a helpline thing?
Yeah. So it's like a hotline, there's just counselors and psychologists.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like kind of like Blue Dog Institute's another one, Beyond Blue, Lifeline. Maybe I called Lifeline. One of them. Yeah. But I think it was just because I was releasing so much stuff and realizing a lot of stuff and forgiving, and like lots of kind of, I was by myself, trapped in a room for 2 weeks. So it kind of just like came. I was like, oh, hello, we're doing it. Didn't plan on doing it. I was going to record my audio book and do voiceover work. None of that happened because I couldn't get my microphone. And yeah, so it was just, I think I up-leveled. I grew so much in 2 weeks because I had it was maybe 1 week and a half, but I had 1.5 weeks to myself, literally, no one else. And, you know, I watched movies and I did TikToks and all that type of stuff, but I had 2 weeks to really go within, and I grew so much. I'm like, wow. So I'm really grateful for it because I felt like, it was a whole, like the journey of how I came to Queensland and realising all the things. I'm like, I've literally made all that space now for things to flow in that are more aligned. Yeah. So, that's probably why, because a lot of stuff shifted.
And also, I mean, you're coming back to somewhere where you were before, which
has got to be. I didn't think I would come back.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have, had similar situations like that.
Yeah.
And it's an acceptance thing, like you just said. Yeah, you accepted this is where you are, and now it's time to make the best of where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I moved from Queensland to Sydney, and I thought, because I won the green card in 2020.
Okay.
It's the American green card. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
So I won that.
The lottery.
I won the lottery. First year applying, manifested
That's
it. I was
crazy,
like, oh my God.
Wow.
And that kind of, look, with COVID, I don't know what's happening. I still could have it.
Oh, so you've got it and you never went. Yeah.
No, so I'm at the stage of being scheduled for my interview to get it.
Okay.
So I'm so close. So I don't know. We're leaving it up to the universe. Whatever happens, happens. But my plan was to go to Sydney and then to LA. But then I went to Sydney and I came back to Queensland where I never thought I would. And that was that. It took me a couple of months to decide to come back. But look, I'm so happy to be here. Like, right decision. Again, trusting. It was so out of my comfort zone to come back. So there was so much resistance. I'm like, oh, partly because of my mum, and she was here before I, like, the whole kind of grieving thing, and I moved just after she passed away. So that was the main reason why I felt the hesitant. Like, I realised after 2 months, did breath work and a meditation, and it came up. I was like, oh my God. So yeah.
And is your dad here or in Sydney?
Yeah, so he's usually here, but he's living in Darwin for a couple of years with his partner because she got work up there.
Yeah, okay.
So he's usually on the Gold Coast as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what a journey. That's all I can say. The journey is the destination.
Fine about it when I spoke to you. You said, yeah, I'm coming back to Queensland. You know, you seem, obviously it was just a message you can take from what you went, but I could feel like, it felt like that you were okay with it and you were rolling with it. And it's interesting because I've had another close mate of mine that moved to Melbourne for similar things, so the acting and modeling side of things. And he's come back to the Gold Coast of where he's at, you know, and like he's pretty positive about it, you know, like he's annoyed that it, like, some things didn't happen, obviously, when it, like, because of why he went down there, but it's all the journey and the experience, right?
Exactly.
He seems pretty fine about it, you know, like he's moving with how he can, you know, and that's the best you can do. You just got to keep moving forward, right? Yeah.
And I think it's, you know, once I figured out why I was so hesitant to come back, I was like, no, we're going. If that's the reason, we've got to go back.
Yeah.
And like, as soon as I got to the hotel room, I was like, this is the right decision. I just knew, like, the energy up here is so much lighter than Sydney. I was like, whoa.
I have heard that, yeah.
So heavy. I was like, oh my God.
So yeah,
I can breathe.
Yeah, how did you find all that transition though? So you were doing a decent amount of acting gigs when you were in Sydney. How long were you there for?
Nearly 4 years.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
it would have been what day? It would have been 4 years, end of Feb.
Yeah.
So I nearly got to the 4 year mark. I was like, I should just wait. And I'm like, no. So I'm pretty much, I was just doing like the same kind of stuff really. You know, I did some theatre stuff last year, which was fun. And, you know, online content stuff, fit modeling. I can kind of do, you know, I was doing kind of the same things as I'm doing up here.
Yeah.
Auditions, networking, just meeting people, establishing myself, you know,
and
made some connections
as
with,
you have to. Yeah.
like casting people and everything like that down there. Yeah, just kind of experiencing life really. But yeah, the main reason I moved was for acting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now that I do other things, it's still my main thing, but I'm not solely focused on it, which is just so freeing. And I'm like, if I can do all of what I'm doing in Queensland, I can come back. If I can do everything I'm doing in Sydney in Queensland, I think I'd rather live in Queensland because the lifestyle up here, it's just lighter. It's just a little bit more chilled. It's not as, Sydney's very go, 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 hustle. I got caught up in that a lot of just like, go, 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 go. Everyone's going busy, busy, busy. I'm like, and no wonder I burnt out. It's probably because of that too, a little bit. But yeah, it's just things like when you open, I was like, okay, if I'm in Queensland, I'm more open. I'm just more kind of relaxed. I feel things are going to flow more, and they have quite quickly, which is nice. But then also setting intentions has helped as well.
Yeah. So you did a few acting gigs and stuff like that in Sydney, or quite a decent amount in that time. What was the difference for you, like from up here to down there? And when you say go, 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 obviously, like for people that don't know that are listening or what have you, like Melbourne and Sydney have always been for a while, so, you know, like the more of the hub in Australia, although Queensland's catching up a bit, you know, and had a lot of productions come here, especially of late, given the current situations. And also the transformation of everything being online and doing self-tapes a lot of the time, which for those who don't know, self-tapes, auditions at home that you record, that you send in, is just so much more frequent now. Yeah. And you can audition for different things from different cities. So it's a great thing to be able to do. Yeah. Although in person is fun. It's good. Yeah. It's different because you can show your personality off more. For me, I like the in-person auditions. I haven't done one for a long time.
I know, neither have I.
I can't remember the last time I did an in-person audition. I got to be, it'll be for a TVC would have been what I did. So, the difference, did you feel the difference around the people that you were working with, networking with, or?
Yes. There's just a different energy in Sydney. everyone's so lovely, and I have some really beautiful friends there that, I do miss them, and I met a lot of them in the industry. That's, that's where we meet so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can put words to the difference, but there's definitely a much more, because it's a city. The beach is near the city, and like the city is near like everything. Whereas here it's everything so much more spread out. And I think because the city, you are living in a city, that just kind of ripples out everyone's like mentality of just, going back to the hustle mentality. That was probably the biggest difference. I did notice different feelings and things with people, and Sydney can be very cliquey. And I noticed that as soon as I kind of moved down there. Not in a bad way, but it just I noticed that. Like people, they grow up together. Obviously, you're going to have your group of friends and everything.
Yeah.
So nothing bad. But I definitely noticed that. I was like, oh, new person in the city. Okay.
Where do I place myself in this big thing? Yeah. Look, it's the same here too. When I moved here, because I didn't grow up here, I didn't know people here. And you can see I think it's everywhere, they stay in their groups and their tribes and their cliques, if you will. Yeah. And it's so it's hard to, they don't want to let new people in, and so you just got to find your own way with it, and all that you attract the right people around you, and you find your group, like
100%.
It is what it is. So I think it's like that everywhere, but it's probably, like you say, like that's what I hear, that it's go, 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 go.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I was like, whoa.
And I wonder if that's like a test for an actor, like to go through something like that, or it is good to, for mine, it's great to be in a relaxed situation, and the vibe, is everything, because you go with that, and so, but also like putting yourself in the deep end and seeing what you're made of, in that kind of environment is beneficial as well. So it's 100%. Always an interesting thing, and you've clearly learned from it.
I'm so glad I did it. Like I had a very big call to go down to Sydney, and I'm glad that I trusted that. And I think, with a new city or a new country or town or whatever, it's giving yourself time. I was like 2 weeks in, I was thinking, I just want to go to the beach with a friend. And I was like, Anna, you've been here for 2 weeks. It's going to take time. And it took me probably at least 2 years to really feel settled there and have like friends that I could actually call up and be like, hey, let's go to the beach today, or what do you want to do, or things like that. And once I kind of felt grounded, I was like, okay, this is easier, because I would come back up to the Gold Coast for a holiday and I would go back to Sydney, and it would take me a week to settle back in because I just wasn't grounded there. But really glad I did it. And I never saw Sydney as long term. So I was going to be leaving anyway.
Yeah.
So it was either LA or somewhere else. So I guess it's just the Gold Coast for now. But
do you think, given the current climate and situations of the world and where it's at, and definitely where LA's at, it's pretty crazy. There's been a lot of people moved back from there that have been here, that it's just like too dangerous and crazy for them. Do you still see that for you? Or because obviously you can audition for things in LA and stuff. They do cut. I mean, it's it's one of those things. I mean, obviously it's better when you're there sometimes, but there's a lot of productions from there coming here, and has done over the last year, 18 months or so, which is great for people here getting, roles that they might not, or opportunities, will I say, is definitely pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's weird because when I went to LA, I was like, this feels like home. And it was a very big pull. And I'm not surprised that I won the green card, because that was the biggest manifestation at that time that I was bringing in. But also now things are so different, obviously with what's happened in the world, things coming here. I'm like, oh, there's like a lot of opportunities here now. And I think I'm pretty content with being here and just seeing what happens. But I don't know. I still, I think LA is a very different space to where I was when I was there. I was like, oh. So like, I've got friends that are like, Anna, the energy is a lot different over here now. I was like, oh, it's sad to hear, because I love it. I love America and I love New York. And
I have been to New York, but I've been to LA.
It's magical.
Yeah.
And, I'm just trusting the process. I know that if I'm meant to be that, I'll be there at the right time. Yeah. So again, just taking the pressure and be like, okay, I'm happy. I'm really happy where I am right now. So just going with that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish you brought your poetry book.
I know.
I want you to read a poem for us. Are you a person, do you have it on your phone or anything?
Yes.
Are you a person
I
that
can get it on
likes
my Instagram.
to read your own poetry?
Well, look, I'm getting used to it.
Yeah.
At the start, I was
'Cause
like,
that's
no,
the thing,
you read
right?
it.
It's
I don't
a
want
vibe.
you read it.
Yeah.
I don't want to read it out loud.
Yeah.
But I could get it on my Instagram. I have a poem on my Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's the one you don't want to share?
Oh, look. No, I can. I can read a poem.
Yeah.
Can I get my phone?
Yeah, I'd like you to, yeah. Because, it's a funny thing reading it out loud. But you're like, but this is how it has to be said, though. You know when you're – because I've written a little poetry, okay? I've written it, but
Love that.
I've never written a book. I seem to have a way with rhyming. It's probably, there's so many different forms of poetry, right? And mine's a lot more of rhyming the thing and whatever. That's what I do. I've written poems. This is going to sound corny. Am I feminine?
You've got to embrace both sides.
No, it's great. I've done some for my mum, right? It's funny, and girlfriends before. But that's it. But it's like it has to be expressed in a certain way, like you want it to be read the way you've written it. Otherwise it sounds weird. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's
definitely.
so funny. Like I'm like, I wonder if everyone goes through this or when they're writing things like this or even writing in general, when you write a script and then people are saying the words, that's a lot easier. I don't know why. Probably because it's so much more of an emotional connection when you're writing poetry because you're writing it for a reason within an emotion that you're feeling or feeling about the person or feeling for the person, Yeah, it's a different thing. Like, have you done an audiobook?
Not yet, but that's
what you were going to do? Okay, yeah.
That's on my list to do.
Yeah.
I actually thought about that last night.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, because, it's like art is it's like the artist has an expression, but the other person has an interpretation of what they're reading or what they're seeing or anything in that regard, to evoke emotion within them.
Yes.
So it's great to have someone read a poem and whatever it works for them.
Yeah.
But also like, the expression behind it, if you're reading it, it's a different thing and to be felt. And I feel like poetry would be cool because that's what I found when I was reading yours. I was like, I feel like I'm not reading this the way it's supposed to be read and I want to hear how you deliver it, like because it's different form of poetry that I wasn't really accustomed to, so to speak. I don't go out of my way to read a lot of poetry, but I don't mind a poem, you know what I mean? But it's just it was interesting. And then I reread them a couple of times just to get the vibe, of what I was reading. So
I've realized, that I'm not really a rhymer. My poetry isn't rhymey. I don't really know how to describe it. I'm like, ooh, it's like something comes over me. I've written other things and I'm like, where did that come from? Like that was like my higher self, my soul coming, like I read it back. I'm like, where did that come from? But I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have one. It's poem 24. It's got like a little drawing.
Oh, that's the
Can you see that? It's like a wave.
Yeah, is that one of the ones on your website? Maybe I did see it. Actually,
maybe.
There is a drawing on your website.
There is.
Yeah.
It might
I was
be this
wondering what
one.
that thing was. No, yeah.
What is that? No, Elka Gill, she did the drawings and the front cover. She is very talented. Okay, so poem 24.
Breath work.
Okay. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Swish, swish, swish. My toes digging for dear life. My soul is ready. I'm being waved at. She's pulling me in. I can't help it. It's where I need to be. The ocean. She's calling me.
Love it.
So that's about the
one.
ocean.
Yeah.
I'm being waved at. I was like, oh, that's good. Like a wave, a wave.
From the ocean to welcome you in. Yeah.
But that's poem 24.
I like that one.
Let me find. I'll read the other one. Oh, fuck. Oh, can we swear on this?
Yeah, I think we've done it a few times already. I think you just clocked up one more than me, though. For some weird reason, I seem to clock them in my mind, even though I'm so mindful of it, like not doing it.
That's so funny.
I don't mind doing it. It's been said a million times over on this podcast.
Great.
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter what happens on this podcast. It's
Sorry, I just screamed. Oh my gosh, sorry. I'm trying to get this and screenshot it because I don't want to read the other one.
Okay.
But it's on my Instagram, so like the world can see it.
Way too personal, or is it?
Oh, look, it's just about a past boy when I was 16.
Okay. We don't want to go back to the 2 weeks in quarantine.
Oh, look, no, I'm going to read it because I'm going to read it because it is, look, it's nice. Again, we have a drawing of the two hands. Insert photo here.
Yes. Can you see this camera? Actually, my camera's here. That's what I should be pointing it at. Amateurs here. We don't do this for a profession.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. It's like like the hands are kind of woven together.
With like the flowers and coming together.
Yeah, I get it. And now I'll hear the poem so I can get the symbolism properly.
Okay, so this is poem 15. You called me one night. It was midnight. I was in love. Well, was I? I was 16. I'm walking up to you now. Dad will wake up. Come, please. My heart said yes. My head said no. I listened to my head.
The gasp that you said, like you let out, I don't even know if you even realized you did it.
I think I lost my breath. I was like,
it felt like it was just channeled towards that moment.
Look, it's very clear in my head that.
Yeah.
That's a very vivid memory of mine. I have one more if you want to hear one more.
Let's do it.
Okay, so poem 18. I might be British tonight. Oh, Anna, please no. When in Rome, right? The ice cream kisses our lips just like the boys. The ice cream drips, drips, drips down the cone. Spaghetti slaps our mouths. Never-ending tomatoes stain our taste buds. Sun kisses our skin. Sea crystals wash our soul. Pink fish and yellow-coloured crisps are our saviours. When in Rome, right?
Love it. I think that one might be on your website.
I think that's on my website.
I read that one, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a lot different when you say it than how I was
really?
reading it. Yeah, that's why I was intrigued,
Yeah.
and I wanted to know how you said it because your style of poetry, I feel like is kind of like that, but yeah, it's art. It's the way you interpret it, and that's why I had to read it over a few times to get the vibe of how the pace, the rhyme, of which to say and deliver a poem. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 3 poems of mine.
So check it out, guys. It's on Amazon now. Support Anna. Support creative artists.
For the one with stars in her eyes.
There you go.
There we go. But yes, thank you for allowing me to share.
No, I love it. It's been great to chat to you, and you're welcome back anytime you like.
Thank you. Next time, have a wine.
Yes, let's do it. Loosen up. No, it was great. But the studio will look different too when you come back next time. So that'll be good. We did a little pop-up today for this one to get it done. But it was awesome. And thanks a lot for sharing everything with us, your journey so far. I feel like I'm a little bit of a part of it now.
Yes,
I'm in the world of Anna.
Yes.
It's great. And I wish you all the best with everything you're doing,
Thank you.
Let's find you that agent, that right agent that's going to fit your journey and go along with you. And I wish you all the best with everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Reach out if you ever need help with anything, producing, whatever.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
No worries. So where can people find you before we go? And we've mentioned before your website. But do you want to let everyone know, socials, anything where people can find you?
Cool. So my website is annapatch.com.au, which has everything on there.
That's AU, guys.
AU, don't forget the AU. And then my Instagram is @annapatch_. Yeah, they're my main ones.
There we go.
Yep.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for coming on, Anna.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back soon.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks.